Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review of The House with the Clock in Its Walls. This movie stars Jack Black, Cate Blanchett, okay, and a young Owen Vaccaro. He plays Louis Barneveld. This movie kind of opens with him coming on a bus after the death of his parents to visit, to live with his uncle, Jonathan Barneveld, played by Jack Black, and he has a neighbor, Florence Zimmerman, played by Cate Blanchett. And this is about him coming to live with his uncle and discovering that his uncle is actually a warlock, okay, and has tons of clocks in his house and stuff, and he tries to to learn magic, and of course he misses his mother and his parents, and he's trying to fit in at school, and also, like I said, trying to get to know his uncle and his crazy stuff, and his uncle has a bunch of rules that he has to abide by while staying in the house, and of course he wants to show him how to do magic and everything. And then basically what happens in this movie is we find out there was another person, Isaac Izzet, who actually constructed a magical clock that was with black magic, and was gonna count down to doomsday, to the end of the world. Of course, he died. His character died, and they basically are trying to find that clock that he built to stop the clock from counting down to doomsday. And this is what happens in the story. This movie, to me, was just okay. The problem with this movie was that there was so much exposition that they had to get through. Like when certain characters pop up, then you get the backstory. Instead of this movie being kind of a straightforward thing, there were a lot of callbacks to a lot of previous things that you didn't see, which I think kind of disrupted the narrative for this movie. Because basically, when you see the trailer, you think this movie is about him coming to live with his uncle and his and the neighborhood, and them learning how to fit in school and stuff. But then it goes off on another tangent when they bring in these other characters, okay, and then you find out more of their backstory. So they kind of like add on as the movie goes along, and kind of makes the story more complicated as it goes along. And instead of making the story just about this kid trying to fit in, him missing his parents and trying to fit in with his uncle and learning the magic, discovering that his uncle's a warlock, and also him trying to fit in at school as well, and dealing with the other kids and stuff. But it gets more complicated than it has to be, which I think kind of hurts this movie. Okay, like I said, they bring in these two other characters that they have to go into an explanation of who they are and their backstory and how it relates to Jack Black and where he's living, and it gets sort of cultivated, it gets too complicated. Instead of being a kind of a straightforward story, it gets more complicated as it goes along, and you get to know, I guess, literally as this kid gets to know all these things that happened before. You get to know them, and it kind of makes it more complicated than it has to be. Okay, which kind of detracts to me from the movie. Jack Black is entertaining and stuff, and Cate Blanchett is always solid in everything she does, but I think the script is what hurt this movie and why it didn't do so well at the box office. They made the story too complicated instead of it being a straightforward, tale of this kid coming into this new world after the death of his parents and getting to know his uncle and experiencing this stuff. And they bring in the end of the world doomsday thing and other wizards, and it gets too complicated and convoluted. That's the word I want to say. Convoluted instead of being a straightforward story, and I think that hurts the narrative of the story. It's an okay movie. It could have been better if they would have just made it more linear and more straightforward. But like I said, it gets too complicated. But anyway, so it's just an okay movie, not a great movie. Okay, which it had the potential to be. So I'm gonna give The House with the Clock in Its Walls, I'm gonna give it a 6.8. Okay, and that's mostly just because Cate Blanchett is totally professional. I love her in this movie because I love Cate Blanchett. And Jack Black is okay in this, and the little kid I thought was decent. It's just that the script again was just too, they got too overly ambitious in my opinion with this movie. Okay, you have other supporting actors in this movie. Kyle MacLachlan's in this, and Renee Elsie Goldsberry, and they play two characters that are kind of essential to the story. But you have to watch the movie. I don't want to spoil that part of that. But that's part of, I think, what makes the movie more complicated than it has to be. Okay, so I'm gonna get again 6.8 for me for The House with the Clock in Its Walls. Anyway, let me know what you think of this movie. If you've seen it, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below, and if you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below. I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram in the description box, as well as a link to my other channel, Public Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.